Earlier this week, the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman, PHSO, confirmed that around 500 WASPI Women Against State Pension Inequality, and the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, will receive its draft report into the injustice caused by the maladministration by the end of next week. However, this will be made in writing in confidence to those parties involved and not made public until next year. Chief Executive Officer at the PHSO, Rebecca Hilsenrath, explained to the Public Administration and Constitutional Affairs Committee (PACAC) on November 14 that the provisional findings for Stage 2, Injustice, and Stage 3, Financial Remedy, will only be sent, mostly by post, to the parties involved, namely the UK government and around 500 women who made a complaint. Ms Hilsenrath made it clear, after some strong questioning by SNP MP for Inverclyde, Ronnie Cowan, that the final published report will apply to all women affected by the changes to the state pension age. Ms Hilsenrath explained how the draft final report being sent out next week is intended to allow those women who brought the complaint to the PHSO time to review it and provide feedback, which they must do so before the Christmas deadline. December 21 was mentioned during the session, but is unconfirmed. Ms Hilsenrath told Mr Cowan, "What they will essentially see is a draft of Stage 2 and Stage 3, and we'll be seeking their views on that draft in order for us to be able to take into account those views and then issue the final report in the new year." Rob Barron, CBE, Ombudsman at the PHSO, added, "Could I make a point here, Mr Cowan? One of the difficulties we have is under the law we are required to investigate in private, so we can't comment when somebody leaks the provisional view which we've sent round, and so it looks as though we're not caring or not responding, but actually what we're doing is abiding by the process which is set out in law that we have to investigate in private." Mr Cowan replied, "I'm just trying to make sure the cases of the women you're actually investigating are being kept up to date. The public discourse is a completely different thing and I appreciate that." The Inverclyde MP then pressed for an answer on whether the PHSO thought the WASPI women having to wait 7 years on the outcome of its investigation was good service, highlighting how 250,000 women have died during the ongoing process. Ms Hilsenrath explained how it was important to get it right and look at every piece of evidence carefully, which has inevitably taken its time. She added, "I do believe we have taken the time we've needed to give the appropriate handling and consideration to all those pieces of evidence in an incredibly difficult and challenging case." Mr Cowan then asked, "What is a reasonable date when these women will know the outcome of this inquiry and they'll know if they're getting compensation?" The PHSO said that a number of delays affecting the case were out of their control, highlighting the judicial review in March this year. After pressing again for a timescale for a final outcome, Mr Barons told Mr Cowan, "It's not in our hands, Mr Cowan, to be able to be definitive at what the end date is going to be, because if there is further litigation then that will delay the process even further. That is out of our hands." Ms Hilsenrath reiterated that the PHSO understands how challenging the process has been for WASPI women, and that's why it has done its absolute best to get those provisional views out by the end of next week. You can watch the meeting on Parliament TV here. In July 2021, the PHSO's Stage 1 investigation ruled the DWP failed to communicate the age changes to those women with enough urgency, finding it guilty of maladministration. However, it was forced to row back on its Stage 2 report in March 2023 following a successful legal challenge by the WASPI campaign against the original draft, which was found to be unlawful. The final Stage 3 report will then recommend to the UK government what level of compensation, if any, should be paid to affected women. The WASPI campaign was formed to help millions of women get fair and fast compensation after some of the worst affected were only given a few months' notice of a 6-year delay to their eligibility for the state pension. Get the latest record money news. Join the conversation on our Money Saving Scotland Facebook group for energy and money saving tips, the latest benefits news, consumer help and advice on coping with the cost of living crisis. Sign up to our Record Money newsletter and get the top stories sent to your inbox daily from Monday to Friday, including a special cost of living edition on a Thursday. Sign up here. You can also follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at @recordmoney_ for regular updates throughout the day. Recent WASPI research suggests nearly 4 million women, mostly born in the 1950s, saw their retirement plans plunged into chaos at the last minute, after the DWP increased the state pension age from 60 to 65, and later 66. Join the Daily Records WhatsApp community here and get the latest news sent straight to your messages.